If you're like me and you don't feel like spending a fortune on ordering parts that are made out of aluminum, we just make them ourselves. But if you don't have aluminum or parts to construct things out of aluminum, you look for other alternatives. My Logic display surrounds, I've decided to make those out of wood. I'm going to use a router to do that with some simple measuring tools and also a miter saw. One of the things I did do, I got the blueprints from them, and on there I wrote everything down in the American standard here of inches. That way I could easily convert them, because as you see, everything here is in decimal form, so that doesn't make it very easy for measuring stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I've got a nice piece of wood that I got, which is poplar wood. It's a nice hard wood. I already made some Logic surrounds, but I didn't like how they turned out, so I'll just use these as a base. This is pretty much what they look like. They're glued together kind of bad. They didn't fit into my R2. Some guys said to sand them, but these were a bit too big, out of shape for what I wanted. They do look a little wacky, but this is the basis of how I'm going to do it, and we're going to show you how to do that today. Alright, so here's our table router. I have it set right here. As you can see, the depth of that is just a little bit over 3/16 of an inch. I subtracted 307 from 500 and came up with 193, and it's a pretty far out there number fraction wise, so that's the best I could do with it, and we've got that router table set just for that. So our first thing to do is to make a cut. We're going to take this piece of wood and just skim it right across like that, and we'll come up with a nice mark. We're going to measure this just to make sure, because it looks like it's a little off since this is a brand new table. I may not have it set right. And that mark is off just a little bit, so we're going to have to adjust this up. If we look at this, this actually should be set right here. That looks pretty good to me, set just exactly where we wanted it. Our next step is we're going to measure this out to see exactly what sizes we want. So I'm doing the side that has the 16-degree bend in it, as you can see according to this plan. So we're going to go with the 16. If we look at it from this side going this way, these are the measurements that we need right here. So we're going to have to make a measurement that is 7/64, or I'm sorry, from that edge right here, and then from the end right here, we know that that is 7/64, so we're going to make that mark according to that. And then we're going to make another one 1/8 of an inch more for that. So we've got this edge right here, which we know this is where our miter is. So as you can see, according to this plan, right here, it says 109, which is 7/64. Then another mark that is 1/8 of an inch right on here. So if we take this, it's in 30 seconds. So we know that that's going to be just over 3:30 seconds. So we got 3:30 seconds, which is 1, 2, 3 right there. We'll just mark the middle of that. And then we have to make another line that is 1/8. So find that. And here's the 1/8 right here. We want to take our level. I'm sorry, not our level, our square. Find this mark. Mark it there. And then mark that right there. We're going to bring this over to our chop saw and cut this. Alright, so we've got our wood here. What we want to do is line this up with this using the outside rim of the blade. That way, because the blade is also thick, if you're cutting it on the inside, you're going to shorten your measurements out. So we'll line that up over on this side. Make sure it looks good. We're going to clamp this down in place. That way it doesn't move. I'm just going to make that cut, and this is going to be the flat part. You want to beware of flying wood as well. Alright, so our next cut is going to be that 16-degree angle. We've got a saw here that can do angles. So we're going to align this. As you can see on the side over here, this says it's got a 15 mark, so we move that over to the 16. We're just going to cut down. We want to make sure it lines up again. Let's move this over just a little bit. Just when you're making these cuts, remember to go slow. And we want to see how good of a job we did. So on here, we've got our one cut. You can see where it is a little bit flat like it's supposed to be according to the plan. We've got our angle at 16 degrees. Next thing we want to do is make some 45-degree angles. Before we do that, we want to set this saw back to straight, or 0 degrees. Lock that in place. Got one 45-degree angle cut there. Now we need to make another one on the opposite side. So always remember, don't cut your fingers off when you're doing this. So we're going to move this to this side. The way we want to mark this is from the end, which will be from here to here. According to that plan, that was 1 19/32 of an inch, which was the 1.056. Or 596 according to that plan. So that should be 19/32 right there, because each one of these is 4. That's the 5th one, which is 20, so that's 19. We want to cut on the outside of this. And there we go. That's one piece right there that we have completed. And we should probably go check the fit on this just to see how it works. So that's one side. Alright, so here's our piece. We're going to see how this fits in here. Actually, it looks pretty good. We may have to sand that a little bit before doing our final installation, but we're going to put together everything else. So what we're going to do is cut one more of these because we have everything set on that miter saw already and on the router. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, what we have here now is 4 pieces that are all cut roughly the same size for the long side of the surrounds, the small surrounds for R2. So I mean, you could even check the fit of them. They should be a near perfect square. And if they're not, that's okay. We can do a little sanding on these, and as you see, they fit together fairly well. So now we need to make the shorter side using roughly the same process, except the only difference on that is it has a 12-degree angle and the sides are a little bit shorter, so we're going to be using that right there. And then these measurements right here, which is 7/64 and 3/32. The 7/64 is the same because that's the width of that right there, but 94, that's the measurement from there to there. This really, it doesn't affect it as much when you do that the cut on there, but we need to have that just so we know what it's going to turn out for. This one here is a 12-degree angle, so we're going to find 12 on this and then cut that. Got a nice set that'll fit in there. Right like that. What we're going to do is we'll glue these pieces together. Then we'll cut away this excess here. That way it fits in nice and perfect, and we can fit the other one in as well. And pretty soon we'll have a complete set of logic display surrounds. Alright, we've got our 2 pieces done. On my test pieces that I used, I bought this stuff, wood glue. It seemed to work really well, so we're going to use this again, and we're going to mount them, each one, we're going to do them individually into this and wait about an hour for each one and pop them out, and then we'll cut out the edges. So the directions say basically we're just going to apply this on each side so it's on there good. And I guess the good thing is it cleans up fairly well, so that won't be a problem. What we're going to do now is cut around the edges as specified for the plan. First right here. So that didn't turn out very well. That just shattered all over the place. Okay, so we just saw what happened as a good way of not to cut a logic display surround. So the only thing I did different with the newer ones is that when I was cutting them, I actually cut the backs right here to size, which leaves me with this little edge. So the way to get rid of that is just, I'm going to take my Dremel tool real fast because it's a lot safer than using that saw, so I don't cut myself. So we're just going to take these off real fast and then these will be done. And there we go. We'll probably sand that down just a little bit. And here is our other one that goes, should fit right on top right here. And there we go. So hopefully this will work out in our R2 unit. They went in nice, so we'll see what happens. We're going to paint these and then we will put in our logic displays.